In the fading orange light of a rural evening, when dust hung in the air like a soft veil and the distant hum of motorcycle engines rolled across the fields, a moment unfolded that would soon echo through every home in the town, heavy with shock, sorrow, and something far more powerful. It began when a small girl, trembling and painfully thin, stepped onto the cracked road as a group of bikers rumbled toward her. With eyes wider than fear and a voice barely strong enough to hold itself together, she whispered words that froze the men in their tracks. I can't close my legs. Those 7 words cut deeper than any roar of an engine, stopping the world around them. Something was terribly wrong, and whatever it was, it would soon lay bare truths that no one in town had ever dared to face. If you believe the world needs more kindness, more courage, and more second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The bikers, known for their rough exteriors and thunderous machines, were suddenly disarmed by the trembling child before them. Her feet were dusty, her knees bruised, and her oversized dress fluttered in the evening breeze as if trying to shield her. Behind her, the narrow dirt road stretched toward the fields where the sun was almost gone, leaving only a lingering glow that brushed the earth in gold. The tallest biker, Malik, stepped off his bike, his boots crunching against the gravel. His reputation was one of danger and rebellion, but at that moment, all anyone could see was a man trying to swallow a rising panic. The girl's legs were angled awkwardly, stiff as if locked open by pain or injury, and her breath came in small, broken gasps like she had run far, maybe too far for someone so small. As Malik approached, the girl backed away, her fingers twisting the hem of her dress. The air grew heavier with each passing second. The other bikers, men who had seen accidents and fights and storms on lonely roads, felt something unfamiliar settle in their chests, helplessness. She finally lowered her gaze to the ground, and with her shoulders shaking, she explained, in halting words, that she had been injured days ago, left without care, and unable to walk properly without forcing her legs apart. She had been living in a small hut on the outskirts with a guardian who barely noticed her existence, a man who came home only to drink, sleep, and leave again. No neighbors came by. No relatives visited. No one else knew she was suffering. Malik felt the entire road tilt beneath him. He had always believed strength came from being unbreakable, but here was a child who had endured more than he had ever imagined, and she was still standing. The bikers exchanged looks, each silently asking the same question: how long had she been alone in her pain? The girl finally confessed that it hurt too much even to try to close her legs fully. She slept sitting upright. She ate only scraps left outside the door. She had walked out today not because she hoped someone would save her, but because she simply couldn't bear another night alone. The dusk deepened around them, and the engines cooled with ticking sounds as if the motorcycles themselves were listening. Malik lifted her gently, surprised by how weightless she was, as though the world had forgotten to give her enough childhood to fill her frame. He placed her carefully on his bike, and for the first time, she did not look frightened. She looked relieved, like someone who had finally been seen. When they arrived back in town, the people emerged from their homes, startled by the unusual sight of the bikers riding in silence. They watched Malik carry the girl and felt curiosity turning slowly into unease. The local clinic doors burst open when they reached it, and nurses rushed forward the moment they spotted her condition. What the examination revealed made even the strongest of them fall quiet. Her injuries were old but deep, untreated, and agonizing. She had endured infections and swelling that had forced her legs apart, and every step she had taken was an act of unimaginable bravery. The room filled with a mix of horror and sorrow, and suddenly the entire town felt the weight of something they had been guilty of for too long. Looking the other way, word spread quickly, and soon the streets were blanketed with silence thick enough to choke on. People realized that for years, they had dismissed the little hut at the edge of town. They had heard rumors of the men who lived there, but no one had checked, no one had asked, and no one had cared enough until a group of bikers, men they often judged from a distance, had shown more compassion in one evening than the whole town had in years. Over the next days, the hospital room became a haven of healing, not just for the girl's body but for her spirit. Volunteers arrived with meals, toys, blankets, and books. Children who once crossed the street to avoid the roar of engines now stood outside waiting to see the bikers who had become unexpected heroes. Malik visited her every day, sitting beside her bed like a silent guardian. At night, he replayed the moment she had stepped onto the road, realizing how close the world had come to failing her completely. As the girl slowly recovered, something shifted in the town. People began looking at one another differently, seeing not just neighbors but responsibilities. They fixed fences, checked on elderly residents, became more watchful of the children who played along the dusty roads. The biker group, once seen as troublemakers, became symbols of protection, riding through town not with arrogance, but with purpose. The day the girl took her first steps with her legs finally able to close, the entire hospital staff gathered around her, holding their breath. She wobbled, then steadied, gripping Malik's hand. When she managed a small smile, shy but real, the room filled with tears, soft ones, grateful ones. It felt as though the entire town had exhaled at once, carrying away months, maybe years, of neglect and replacing it with newfound compassion. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps spread messages the world needs more than ever. Before we end, I have one special request. Please leave a comment telling what part moved you the most. In the end, the girl wasn't just healed, she became the reminder the town had desperately needed. A reminder that kindness can come from unexpected places, that strength doesn't always wear leather or roar down the highway, and that sometimes the smallest voice can change an entire community when someone finally decides to listen.